slightly rehearsed on the first day, very slightly. And then occasionally we'd have a rehearsal, but, you know, sorry to start laughing, it's just, you know, on so many levels he was just so funny. And the thing was, he was a very, very keen pianist.
He's an amazing piano
Amazing pianist, and this is what he was really interested in.
Yeah.
He used to say, "Hello, piano is my instrument,
Yeah.
violin is my gimmick."
Yeah.
And he loved the piano, and he took the piano very seriously, and he was very serious about piano players and very critical.
Right.
I mean, we were playing with John Lewis once from the MJQ, and
Yeah.
he leant over and he said, "Oh, that is not a piano." Oh. You know, so he didn't appreciate it. And then poor Jimmy Rolls, who was a wonderful composer, pianist, very introverted, though, very delicate player. I mean, Stefan wouldn't play with him. He was really rude about him. And Art Tatum was his god.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You can tell that from listening to it.
I know. He plays like a sort of Parisian Art Tatum, doesn't he? And I remember when he first got a Walkman, when Walkman came out in 78, something, so you could get a cassette recorder with earphones, right? So he got cassette recorder with earphones, and he got this Art Tatum cassette, and he played it. And he found a place with this. I can remember exactly where it was. A Paper Moon. And he does a sort of. It's in F, and he does a kind of B. I think it's a kind of some sort of B altered chord. Stephanie loved that chord.
Yeah.
And he found a way to play and replay. He just went back and forth playing that chord. Oh, it'd kill me when he played that chord. Oh. So he had his ear for pianos and pianists. Was very critical, very strong, very demanding.
Yeah.
Violin, guitar, wasn't really very interested in the guitar, actually.
Right.
Provided you play the right chords,
Mm-hmm.
and he liked listening to you, and he'd
Sure.
encourage you and everything, but he wasn't, his ears weren't on it.
Yeah.
But as soon as a pianist rocked up, Stefan was...
Right.
Oscar Peterson, of course, he recorded with him. He said, "Well, he's a bulldozer." he's a great bulldozer, but he's a bulldozer.
Right, yeah.
In fact, they didn't have much time for each other either. George Shearing, of course, he loved George Shearing's playing, but we only got to make our first record with him because they had a bit of a falling out. And because Stefan discovered George Shearing.
Okay.
So I think
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he discovered George Shearing in London.
Right.
Stefan was 10 years older, so at that time, Grappelli, he would have been 30, 28, 29,
Yeah.
and George Shearing was 19, 20.
Right.
And they played, Shearing was his pianist in one of those cafes that he played in the war.
Mm-hmm.
And Stefan used to have to take him back to, on the underground, in his, because he's blind,
Yeah.
So one day, apparently, Steph said, "I found this scrubber. She's scrubbing the floor."
Right.
So I thought, aha. So I said to George, "Oh, this beautiful girl, George." And I introduced them. So she take him back on the underground.
That's funny.
And he said, next thing, George comes out. He said, "Guess what, Steph? I'm marrying her." And that was his first wife. They were married for ages. Anyway, he complained that George was becoming a bit snobby, you see. So because after all, Shearing became an enormous star, much bigger star than Stefan.
Yeah.
Hugely bigger in the 50s, 60s.
Probably around that time.
Oh, enormous. And Stefan was on his uppers then.
Yeah.
So there was a little bit of, So there was meant to be an album made, and there was some sort of little tiff. And so being Stefan, you're so blunt. Well, he never meant to be blunt, but he'd come out with, he said, "Hello," he said, "I cannot play with Shearing, so I have to play with you." So we got to make our first album, which with him, which was live at the winery, Concord. And interesting that, that was very common in those days, that an artist didn't record with his touring band.
Oh, okay.
The touring band was for the road, cheap,
Yeah.
We used to tour around with Dizzy Gillespie, and it was the same with him.
Yeah.
He had Rodney Jones, Mickey Roker, can't remember who else. We used to do Stephen Grappelli Quartet, Dizzy Gillespie Quartet, and me and Rodney were very pally. And it was the same thing with them. hardly got to make records.
Right.
You know, they were the road band.
Yeah.
So it was, you know, well, I'm not going to say an honour because I think it's a bit of a disgrace, but so we got to make the record, you know, which was great. And there was one other record came out, which was live at Carnegie Hall, and that we didn't even know was being recorded.
All right.
And Bob Thiel's wife, Teresa Brewer, was trying to make a comeback, so he booked her with Grappelli as the one who'd bring in, because by then Stefan was almost capable of selling out the festival, the Carnegie Hall, actually. You know, I mean, he really came up in that period. Really, it's quite exciting to be around.
Yeah.
To be with something that's actually coming up.
Yeah.
You know, and so by then he was bigger than Shearing and all.
Yeah.
But so we did Carnegie Hall with Teresa Brewer. Didn't play with us, but she had her own set.
Yeah.
And Bob Thiel, who's the big record mogul, he secretly recorded it and put it out as a record. So I'm glad he did, because there I've got a record of me with Grappelli live at Carnegie Hall, which certainly wouldn't have been recorded, or if, you know. So I don't know what went on.